everyone, it's Pratibha Lakshmi Bhattacharya from grade Finale of Novelist 2000. So today I'm going to read one book. The title of the book is Roll the Hall, Esio, Trot. So let's start. Written by Roll the Hall and illustrated by Quentin Blake. So Roll the Hall was a spaceship pilot, chocolate historian, and medical inventor. He was also the author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, the BFG, and many more brilliant stories. He remains the world's #1 storyteller. Quentin Blake. He has illustrated more than 300 books and was Roald Dahl's favorite illustrator. In 1980, who won the prestigious Kate Greenway Medal. In 1999, he became the first ever children's literate and in 2013 he was knighted for services to illustration. So this was about author and the illustrator. So let's start reading this book. Esio Trot. Mr. Hopper lived in a small flat high up in a tall concrete building. He lived alone. He had always been a lonely man, and now that he was retired from work, he was more lonely than ever. There were two loves in Mr. Hopper's life. One was flowers he grew on his balcony, and they grew in pots and tubs and baskets. And in summer, the little balcony became a range of color. Mr. Hopper's second love was secret. He kept entirely to himself. The balcony immediately blew Mr. Hopper jutted out a good bit further from the building than his own. So Mr. Hopper always had fine view of what was going down there. This balcony belonged to an attractive middle-aged lady called Mrs. Silver. Mrs. Silver was a widow who also lived alone. And although she didn't know it, it was she who was the object of Mr. Hopper's secret love. He had loved her from his balcony for many years, but he was a very shy man, and he had never been able to bring himself to give her even the smallest hint of his love. Every morning, Mr. Hopper and Mrs. Silver exchanged polite conversations. The one looking down from above, other looking up. But what was far as it ever went, the distance between their balconies might not have been more than a few yards. But to Mr. Hopper, it seemed like off for a cup of tea and a biscuit. But every time he was about to form the words on his lips, his courage failed him. As I said, he was very shy man. Oh, if only he kept telling himself only he could do something. 10 years like saving her life or rescuing her from a gang of armed thugs. If only he could perform some great feat that would make him hero in her eyes. If only. The trouble with Mrs. Silver was that she gave all her love to somebody else, and that somebody was a small tortoise got alive. Every day, when Mr. Hopper looked over his balcony and saw Mrs. Silver whispering endearments to Alive and stroking his tail. He felt absolutely jealous. He wouldn't even have minded becoming a tortoise himself if it meant Mrs. Silver stroking his tail each morning and whispering admonitions to him. Alive had been with Mrs. Silver for years, and he lived on her balcony summer and winter. Flags had been placed round the sides of the balcony so that Alive could walk about without topping over the edge, and in one corner there was a little house into which Alive would crawl every night to keep warm. When the colder weather came along in November, Mrs. Silver would fill Alive's house with dry hay, and the tortoise would crawl in there and bury himself deep under the hay and go to sleep for months on end without food or water. This is called hibernation. In early spring, when Alive felt the warmer weather toward his tail, he would wake up and crawl very slowly out of his house onto the balcony, and Mrs. Silver would clap her hands with joy and cry out, "Welcome back, my darling one! Oh, how I have missed you!" It was at times like this that Mr. Hoppy wished more than ever he could change places with Alive and become a tortoise. Now we come to a certain bright morning in May when something happened that changed in need. Electrified Mr. Hoppy's life. He was turning over his balcony rail, watching Mrs. Silver serving Alive his breakfast. "Here's the heart of the lettuce for you, my lovely," she was saying, "and here's a slice of a fresh tomato and a piece of crispy celery." "Good morning, Mrs. Silver," said Mr. Hoppy. "Alive's looking well this morning. Isn't he jealous?" Mrs. Silver said, looking up and beaming at him. Thank you for listening to me. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.